do you feel vindicated by what was discovered in this deposition?
I do feel vindicated. I feel validated. What really kind of upsets me is when they call me an accuser, because that sort of takes the blush off the rose. And I know that legally that's what I have to be called, but I was there. I'm not making this stuff up. This happened to me, and it's a memory I wish I could forget. But I'm thrilled and shocked that this has happened. I'm shocked that he told the truth in the depot.
Joan, did you ever confront Bill Cosby, and did you ever see his wife there? So 2 questions.
No. This was in the hotel the second time, because he called my house when I was back home in Brooklyn, and my mother was thrilled that he was sending a limo for me, and I could not tell her what happened because they loved Bill Cosby. And, you know, of course, as a teenager, I felt really, I didn't know how to handle it.
Hey, Joan,
I just wanted to stuff it.
And Joan, I have a question for you, and please correct me if I'm mistaking you or confusing you with somebody else, but as I remember, you're discussing this was part of you coming clean in recovery and telling your story. Is that right?
That's when I first told my story,
Right,
yes.
right. And does the Quaalude now make sense to you? Do you believe that's what he drugged you with?
You know what? I think there were 2 different things. I think the first time was probably some kind of Valium-type drug. I don't know, because I could get up and walk afterwards. But the second time, I was knocked out for 12, 13 hours. And
Yeah.
now, I don't know in a blackout whether or not he gave me drugs again.
Right.
But I don't remember.
But you're
nothing.
You're zeroing in on that lack of memory and that inability to walk, which is sort of a Quaalude thing. Your muscles just don't work, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Had you now? I don't want you to incriminate yourself, but had you taken Quaaludes before, and are people
No.
going to? Okay. So,
No.
but based on what I understand, I've never been exposed to that medication. I've certainly seen people that have, and that's what I understand. The descriptions sound very much like Quaaludes. Yes.
Yes, it does. I never was into pills, though. That wasn't my drug of choice.
What do you say to people who didn't believe you?
You know what? I say, I kind of quote Voltaire. You know, I disagree with everything you say, but I'll defend to the death your right to have your own opinion. I mean, what can I say? They're not going to believe me no matter what I say.
Joan,
so I don't waste my breath.
I just wanted to ask you a quick question. You mentioned that it happened twice. So the first time you thought you were drugged with a Valium, the second time it was, you know, this Quaalude.
In New York. The first time was in New York, in Los Angeles. I was there writing comedy.
My question would be, if you felt you might have been drugged the first time, why'd you go back?
Because he called my parents' house. I didn't go back. He called my parents' house and told my mother he was sending a limo for me to pick me up and take me out to the Westbury Music Fair so I could see the comedy that we wrote together. And I thought I was going to a theater. I didn't know that I was going to be drugged.
And remember, she was in her addiction herself at that point, too, right? Is that, Joan, you were still active in your disease?
Yes, of course.
Yeah,
yes.
And so she wasn't making great choices. She was a young person. I mean, I mean, it is what it is.
The poor choice I made was not telling my parents when he called and my mother got so excited that Bill Cosby was sending a limo to pick me up.
And had you been,
that was my mistake.
I'm going to get in a little deeper here. Had you been a trauma survivor where you blamed yourself for any victimizations that were happening to you anyway?
I don't think so. I don't think so. But I certainly blamed myself for this.
You blamed yourself. So, again, the whole way you assumed this was...
I should have known. I should have known. My intuition should have told me something. I should have known that there was something wrong with this man.
Both times?
Yes.
Shaguna...
Well, the second time I knew. Second time I knew, but I didn't know that I was going to be drugged in a limousine and taken back to his hotel. I don't even remember going back to the hotel. I
don't want to mitigate at all what happened to you, and I find him to be reprehensible and monstrous. But to a lot of people hearing this twice, the first time you felt something weird went on. The second time, you got to understand as a guy what it sounds like. You can't keep. It's like you touched the fire, got burned, and then you touched it again.
Absolutely, you're right.
Wait, Joan is saying he's right.
I just want to understand it.
Joan, go ahead and address that.
I said you're right. As I said, the mistake came because I didn't want to tell my parents. What had happened to me when I was in Los Angeles, I didn't know how to get out of it.
Also, she wanted to be a comedy writer. I mean, I don't think we can dismiss that. How badly she he wanted in. He was the god.
I never wrote comedy again after that trip to Los Angeles.